Hello and welcome to this presentation designed to help you with your online Gifted and Talented Program Approval application. My name is Mary Catherine Stein and I'm the Program Coordinator for Gifted Education. The first step in completing your annual GT program application is to access the application online. Here are the steps involved in finding your district's online application form. First, go to the ADE Data Center at the address listed or access the ADE Data Center icon on the arkansased.org website in the lower left corner. Find the icon for Online Forms and click on it. You will need to log in with your Triant account information on that screen. A list of forms will appear. Click on the Gifted and Talented Program Application form. Click on the New tab in the upper right-hand corner. The application for your district will load automatically with the correct form for your district based on where your district is in the 3-year cycle. You may save your work and return as often as necessary before submitting your application. You will need to put something into all the boxes on a screen to progress to the next page, so during the time you're working you may want to type a placeholder and return later. Please submit the application by October 15th. The first screen you find is the authorization page. Please review any information that may have already populated the form and make changes as necessary. Emails about the status of the report are sent to the superintendent and the GT coordinator based on the emails entered, so be sure they are correct. If you have more than one high school and multiple AP coordinators, please list all their names and emails in the boxes provided. Be sure the superintendent is aware of the report and realizes that when it is submitted electronically, it is assumed the superintendent has approved the report. You may want to make a PDF copy of the report and give it to the superintendent. Below you will find a place to indicate the licensure of the GT coordinator. Most GT coordinators hold the 305-306 GT licensure, but the newest licensure code is 289. If you are teaching under an ALP, an additional training plan, a copy of the ALP should be uploaded here. Be sure the document uploaded is actually an ALP. The next box on the application is very important. Any changes to any of the areas listed should be described in the box. For example, personnel changes, except for pre-AP and AP teachers, or changes to program options should be recorded, or school board approved policy changes, for example. Be sure listings for personnel are the names listed for teachers in the teacher licensure database. If there are no changes, just put no changes. Below the change box is an ADE comments box. This is the area where we make comments, ask questions, and indicate the need for revisions. Please do not try to answer questions in the ADE comments box. The program will allow you to type, but it will not save anything. Changes or explanations need to be made in the boxes above. The status box is also very important. It will change depending on where you are in the approval process. Expect to have to clarify or make revisions because the accuracy of the report is important. It is not a race to get finished, but a give and take until it is clear that GT standards are being met. When you've completed a screen, be sure to click the Save button or your work will not be saved. A Close tab will appear and then you will know your work has been saved. Then you can click Next and go to the next screen. If you want to see the next screen, you will need to put a marker in the boxes before it will let you save and go on to the next screen. Screen 2 is the report about student data, the program options for services being used, and the documentation of the services. The graph across the top of the screen will be filled in as you enter data. The ADE comments box for this page and the Save button is near the top, which can be confusing. Be sure to read the reminders about programs, student contact time, and the content codes under the title. As you enter data, the program builds a chart below. You will need an entry for each grade level indicating the number of identified students, except for the number of students served in K2 or 3. The program option primarily used the minutes per week, the content areas, and the teacher or teachers providing services. If more than one type of teacher is involved in providing services, explain how services are divided. For example, if the GT teacher meets once a month with secondary students, indicate that here. If students on a grade level are served in both pre-AP and AP classes, indicate that and be sure we can tell which courses are pre-AP and AP on a grade level. Then describe how services are documented. You don't have to list teacher or student schedules here. List the documents that are evidence of service, such as lesson plans or an AP course syllabus that has been approved through the AP course audit process for AP courses. Here is an example of the chart. The documentation listed in the chart should be available during on-site monitoring for all grade levels and years since the last on-site monitoring. This is an example of whole group enrichment with proper documentation that will be available during the next on-site monitoring. Here is an example of the resource room option with proper documentation that will be available during the next on-site monitoring. Here is an example of grade level entries with multiple forms of service delivered by several teachers. Here is an example of a 12th grade program option. On the third screen, you begin entering data for the Evaluation of Services summary. An entry for each program option on the student data screen should be entered on the evaluation screen. You will check off the stakeholders who provided data. Every stakeholder group should be represented for at least one program option. Not every stakeholder has to evaluate every program option. The others option should only be for a stakeholder group not included on the list. Below you will enter the number of stakeholders who entered data for a program option using each format available. A variety of formats should be used in collecting data, but not every format has to be used for each program option. Briefly summarize the results for each program option. While you will want to have data that indicates percentages, there is no need to include them in a brief summary of results. Here is an example of the resulting data table. In the box below the table, enter a list of themes that are based on the results of the program option summaries. The next box asks for 2 or 3 goals and the objectives needed to achieve those goals related to the identified themes in the previous box. Goals could also be based on recommendations made during monitoring unless all the recommendations were achieved. Below the box for ADE comments, there is a box to indicate how the results of program evaluation are disseminated. A summary of evaluation data should be available to all stakeholders, so posting an annual evaluation summary on the district website would be a good way to make sure it is available to all stakeholders. When you click and save the evaluation data screen, you will go to the program status screen. Notice that each part of the application has an individual status. There is also a Submit button on this screen, and when you're ready, click it so your application is submitted to ADE. You and your superintendent will get electronic emails regarding the status of your application. Be sure to review the comments and make revisions as needed so your application can be approved. Each time you make revisions, please save each screen and hit the Submit button on this screen again until the application is approved. Your application will be archived online for future access. Thank you for viewing, and thanks for all you do for gifted students. From the Office of Gifted and Talented and Advanced Placement, that's Mary Catherine and Crystal. Please call if you need additional assistance.